Welcome to the episode number 105, the best book recommend to you, which is our book date session tagline. So today we were going to introduce you about this book called Committed. Yes, by Elizabeth Gilbert. So you all know about Elizabeth Gilbert, especially those that watch before, Eat, Pray, Love, or read her book before, Eat, Pray, Love. And we also mentioned and also have one session before about Eat, Pray, Love. And another book is called The Big Magic. So she definitely is the author of several New York Times bestseller author for a lot of books, a fiction one. And then another one is a non-fiction one that is called The Big Magic. Another part of Elizabeth Gilbert that maybe yet that you don't know yet. It's about she is the one that founded Love Letters that wrote to yourself. You know, me and Gideon actually follow her in the newsletter that actually every single week on a Monday that she was going to send out an email to us about a love letter. This love letter is a sharing of her sharing about what love would love to tell us today. You know, what love, there's a dear love. What love would you want me to know today? Okay, what this like a letter that you write to yourself from the unconditional love from you. So from the kindness of you, the unconditional love from you, it is so great that, you know, for us to start practicing writing the letter for ourselves. And definitely I start to write the love letter, or I mean from a long one to a short one. It is such a soothing process, de-stress process for me. So any one of you would love to check out Elizabeth Gilbert love letters, go and check it out. Okay, so now I pass to Gideon to share this book with you.
Hi, Lovelet. Hi, Lilies. I try to like imitate how Elizabeth talk. No, anyway, okay. I'm today very happy to talk about this book, Committed, another great book from Elizabeth Gilbert. And this book is a follow-up story from Eat, Pray, Love. I think most of you know Eat, Pray, Love is a book and also is a movie. And the question is, to marry or not to marry? That's the questions, right? And Elizabeth write, so good, I quoted, sometimes life is too hard to be alone, and sometimes life is too good to be alone. So think about it. You want to be alone or you want to get married? There's both sides of the question. I mean, there's pro and cons. And why Elizabeth want to talk about this? I mean, the follow-up story from Eat, Pray, Love is Elizabeth Liz actually traveled across Italy, India, and Indonesia, right? Bali, right? And at the end of the journey of the story of Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth actually fell in love with a man in Bali named Felipe. And this is the book about Elizabeth, I would say, relationship story, not so much about love story, relationship story with this Brazilian born man with an Australian citizenship. And his name is Philip. And this is important. He is a Brazilian born, but he has a citizenship of Australia. So they fell in love, and because Philip want to, see, of course, he want to see Elizabeth as much as he can, right? So he traveled to New York, US, where Elizabeth lived a lot, until one day, the United States Department of Homeland Security decided to detain Philip in airport and tell them that you cannot simply just coming in and coming out of US every 90 days. And they give him, and the security give him a decision, ask them to make a decision. Either you get married or I deport you back to Australia. Okay. So both of them, Philip and Elizabeth, they are actually averse to marriage. They are opposed to marriage because I think both of them are divorcee and they fell out of love, and also they didn't see the point of marriage. So even to the point like Elizabeth keep talking about what is marriage, and because of this scenario, Elizabeth actually done all the study about the history of mankind marriage, the pro and con of marriage, to prepare herself to marriage institution. I mean, she's forced, right? Either you marry or the man you love is deported back to Australia. So Elizabeth even joked like marriage is a friendship recognized by the police. And even in the book itself, I mean, it's a personal opinion. In the book itself, Elizabeth even talked about that marriage is a conspiracy of church to control people. Because I mean, in the book, it talk about the history of marriage, and marriage in the past 19th century or even 18th century is never about happiness or romanticism or loving on someone. Is I mean, I know maybe we can't think about it at the moment, but in the 19th century or even 18th century, love is about arranged marriage, pragmatic marriage. The marriage is because of the interest of larger community. Sometimes political marriage because of the function of the other persons or economical reason that they get into marriage. And people sometimes, I mean, last time people get married and they don't need to like register or get certified by someone because they just get together, right? And why we need to get the cert? So to Elizabeth and Philip, why we need to get that damn paper? You know? So yeah, and I recently I even read about that in China nowadays, because the economy is not doing well in China market. China women are more reluctant to get married now because even though right for now we are talking about equality for women and men, still if you think about it, for marriage, woman is the one who are still sacrifice the most in the marriage. First of all, if for housework, usually people will still depends on the women, the female side. And also if women get into pregnancy, get into childbirth, who take care of the children? Usually is the mother. And also I think a lot of cases we can see that women actually sacrifice their career because of children. So why, you know, in situation nowadays where both women and men are earning equally, I mean somehow equally, why do women want to get into marriage? And Elizabeth even say, right, if you get into marriage, you are, she's saying like any intelligent woman who reads the marriage contract and then goes into it deserve all the consequences. You know about it and you deserve to get all the consequences. And sometimes if there is a divorce, every woman is one divorce away from bankruptcy. I know some maybe in US it's not that case, because in US when there's a divorce, the women did get something, right, the monetary side. But in other country, you know, the women is in weaker side if they got into divorce, because when in divorce, the women will have the small children and also how to support themselves, right? This is the questions, right? So in a way, this book, like to me, is not really love story. It's about questioning about love, relationship, and marriage.
You know, well, we are not doing this live. We are doing this recording, and today is 14th of March. That is White Valentine's Day. So it just coincidentally we got into this recording by today. And to me, there is actually no one-sided thing or about marriage. I would see it as something that is pro and cons, just like what Elizabeth Gilbert, she actually draw out the pro and cons. And I am very, scientific person. I can actually draw out the pro and cons as well. And I can see how many points I have in the pro, how many points I have at the cons. So at the end of the day, I would say that not about the pro and cons that actually will bring up to you whether you want to commit in a marriage or not. It is more on your own, I would say, their own desire during the time. You know, and I believe that every stage of our life, you will have a different kind of thoughts. When you're in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and both of us, me and Gideon, is in our 40s.
40s.
So, different stage of life, we might have a different kind of thoughts about marriage. Some people may, yeah, I want to go into, there is no right or wrong. And I said, no, this is not for me. It is also nothing right or wrong. It's just like in a different stage of your life, what is your innermost desire of being part of so sometimes it's just like whether some people do ask me before, why you don't want to get into marriage. Even I think Gideon, you asked me before, right? Why you don't want to get into marriage? I mean, and Gideon is married, right? And he has a wife, he has a lovely wife. It's just like, you know, or maybe I can ask you back, Gideon. It's like, why do you want to get into marriage?
Um,
There is no right or wrong.
Maybe
It's just
to
like,
society look at it, marriage I think do give some security to the other side about monetary and also maybe social status. And I think a lot of women want to have security, right, in life, right? So marriage to give them some peace of mind. Maybe Joyce, you can comment, right? It will give the women some peace of mind about the relationship, because sometimes if you don't do that, it might always give up insecurity to other person. Like, you can always walk out to me and you don't have to bear any consequences or responsibility. Yeah.
mm.
I know it's not a romantic question answer.
Because sometimes it comes into the marriage, it become a responsibility,
Yeah, well,
or it becomes like what we say, a commitment,
yeah,
right? So it is
you're
always
committed.
very open to what someone is willing to get through during the time of the life. So that's again, there is no right or wrong answer. So that's something that, you know, that I like what example you share, Gideon, just now. It's about China. So
Yeah,
it's
I read the news not long ago
news.
about this, and it still happened, right? This book is written quite long ago,
Right.
and to until now, is we. I mean, we still have this same situation. Yeah,
Yes, it's definitely not only happened in China, I believe.
yeah,
It happened to, the news is actually published in China, and this is the survey they did. At the same time, I believe the whole world scenario, it's having the trend of gender equality. And then women and men, we share we work, and then we earn the almost same amount of our
yeah,
salary, our revenue, or even we start our own business. So it just more on whether both party how committed they are into continue the life together in the future, you know. So this is something very, very subjective. And Elizabeth Gilbert, she shares so much in this book. And I would love you all also share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. What is your thought about getting married or not? Or actually you are so, yes, I'm going to go for marriage. And someone say, no, this is not for me. So you just let us know, and I would love to hear what is your reason for that
yeah.
too.
So yeah, and inside the book, I have there is a story which touched me a lot. So before both of them get married, they actually wait for all the bureaucratic process, and they have to keep traveling around, right? And at one time, Elizabeth actually asked Philip. Philip actually is a gemstone dealer. Okay, so Elizabeth asked Philip, "Do you still love me?" And then Philip says, "Still." Then Elizabeth asked, "How?" And this is how Philip answered. Philip didn't answer. I'm quoted from the book. Philip didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, "When I used to go down to Brazil to buy gemstones, I would often buy something they call a parcel. A parcel is this random collection of gems that the miner or the wholesaler or whoever that's bullshitting you puts together. A typical puzzle will contain 20 or 30 aquamarines at once. Aquamarine is the how you qualify the gemstone, right? And the higher the better, right? So supposedly you get a better deal that way, buying them all in a bunch, but you have to be careful because of course the guy is trying to rip you off. He's trying to unload his bad gemstones on you by packaging them together with a few really good ones. Then Philip continued. So when I first started in a jewelry business, he always get into trouble because he could get too excited about one or two perfect gemstone in the puzzle, right? And he wouldn't pay a lot of attention to other junk they throw in. So the thing is, Philip said, it's the same with relationship. I think people always fall in love with the most perfect aspect of each other's personalities. Who wouldn't? Anybody can love the most wonderful part of another person. But that's not the clever trick. The really clever trick is this. Can you accept the flaws? Can you look at your partner's faults honestly and say, I can work around that. I can make something out of that. Because the good stuff is always going to be there. And it's always going to be pretty and sparkling, but the crap underneath can run you. So I think it says so good, that anybody can look at the good side of anyone and be in love with that person. But can you also love the not
flaws.
so good one, the flaws?
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says so good, to be fully seen by somebody and then to be loved anyhow. This is human offering that border on miracles, And Elizabeth did clarify, right? She's not suggesting that anyone to tolerate abuse, neglect, disrespect, or alcoholism, right? But what Elizabeth is talking about is learning how to accommodate your life as generous as possible around a basic human, right? Sometimes they are a pain in the ass, right? So that's an example, right? If you know your life partner, maybe he or she is a clean freak, like he take care of cleanliness a lot. Can you accept her or not? I mean, it's not like end of the world like this person. It's not like abuse, right? But can you tolerate this or not when you are with him or her, right? I think it's written so good now about the gemstone, right? Can you take that or not?
It comes in a package. So it's actually me. I found that that definitely there is no one is actually perfect. And every one of us are unique in the sense of we have our good side or the sparkling side, like just now Gideon shared. And then there is also some dark side about us
Yeah.
that, the imperfect side that we will love, some people they can actually shield. They don't let other people see what is the real real, the
Real
real
him.
them. Yeah.
Mm.
So to discover that, and to show, or even to tell to another one before the marriage, I think is perfectly good for each other. To let other people know that how much, is like another side of the so-called the dark side, the imperfect side, the flaws of me. I think is great. So it is not just showing the best of who you are.
Yeah.
Yes, we would love to share our best self, but also sometimes it's great that, to let other people know who you actually are. Sometimes it's like the person, like for me, I'm someone really good in crying. I'm so good in crying. If I'm stressed out, I'm just not happy, I'm sad or what. So I will cry like crazy. So if another party can accept me crying like a baby,
Yes. Yes.
if this person cannot at all accepting me crying like a baby, and he gets so emotional because of that, and we may not be able to stay together.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why my partner must be someone that really good in holding me space, giving me the space to cry. That is something very important for me, because crying to me
Yeah.
is a release emotion.
Yeah.
So every one of us have our own way. So, when crying, you won't look beautiful, right? You will
Yeah.
make up yourself and cry, and it's like, holy shit. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's my
Yeah.
little sharing about that.
I think same for both of them, Elizabeth and Philip. They are very different personality. Elizabeth like to have freedom, of course, and
Mhm.
she's undisciplined. She like to do things out of the blue. But Philip is a very disciplined person, and he like to things to be in good order, and he like to repeat doing things. And Philip know, right, that Elizabeth is such a person. So he also think, right, can I accept this kind of person? And he is willing to try. And because of this, they keep traveling because Elizabeth like to see new things, and they keep traveling. And another story I just want to highlight, the last one about which touched my heart a lot. It's a very short one. Is they keep traveling, and this is their low light of their relationship, because when they keep traveling, um, sometimes they go to the place that is not so nice. I mean, not so comfortable. There's one time that they travel in a bus without aircon in Cambodia, because Elizabeth like to see some historical place, and and they have already been like traveling around without getting their visa or certificate for quite some time, and Philip are very frustrated, and they are cramped in a no aircon bus. And Philip is a gemstone dealer, right? And he, at that time, he cannot take it. He just asked, why I have to endure this? Why I have to stand this? I can live comfortably in a house bungalow, drinking coffee, doing my gemstone business, and I have now had to travel with you in this shit place, and then see all the poor person, and then and it's not clean, right? So at that point, I think Philip is encounter what they call flooding. Flooding. I think we talk about this in Brené Brown books. Flooding is where a point you get so tired, so frustrated, that your mind become deluged by pain or by tiredness, and you can't think correctly. And Philip at that time just ran and angry, and Elizabeth just kept quiet. I mean, she's the cause of this pain to this man he loved, right? She loved, right? And this man is and experiencing all this hardness because of you, right? So until one point, they keep quiet for quite some time, because the bus journey actually takes 6 hours. They have to see each other for 6 hours, although they don't like each other. They have to see each other for 6 hours. And there's a one point Elizabeth even want to jump off from the bus and just leave, right? But she didn't do that. And then they just keep quiet for a few hours, just keep quiet for a few hours. Until one point, Philip say, let's be careful right now. Okay. So let's just be careful on what we say to each other. So I think this is a good lesson about when we are in flirting or we are just so emotional. Let's just be careful on what we talk to the person you love, right? And Elizabeth even talk about like marriage sometimes is a quantity of how much scars that you leave in your tongue, right? When you talk back to the other person, right? And you sometimes you didn't think about it. So this story just want to say like Philip at the end say that, you know, let's think together and find a way. And actually after this, Elizabeth actually thinks some solution. I mean, she's always the one who makes the decision. And she just suggests to Philip that they live in Bali for some times until they get their visa. So Philip is quite happy because Philip actually lived in Bali for quite some time. So they found back their old house. They get back their old house and live there for I think a few months until they get their certificate, and they really get their certificate and they get married. In the end, they get married and they have a small ceremony. So, yeah, this is the story of this book.
So that's the end of the book also lah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah. Elizabeth don't want to give any like hard opinion on something. She just want to give you some view on it, and you have to think yourself about marriage, about relationship.
To tag along what you mentioned just now, finding someone that is emotional stable, I think is so much important, and not just about the other party, it's also ourselves. Learning how to be an emotional stable person. It is a very, very skillful life skill that you must learn. It is such a great, great skill, to when you have a partner that is emotional stable, that it will solve you so much of trouble. You won't get into the quarrel so easily, and you will solve your challenge, any argument easier. So not so much of up and down, and quarrel. That's definitely not good. So someone that emotional stable, you know, it's someone, it definitely in my key. This is something, is like my top three. If I want to get any qualification for my partner, that is the one that, emotional stable must be there. So, okay, so we're going to wrap up our session today, and let us know what is your thoughts after listening to our session today. And see you in the next episode.